What is up, guys? It's Doodoo Poker here, back for another video. Today we are going to be talking about how to play versus the stab flop bet turn bet river line when we are the out of position pre-flop raiser versus a fish. So we have a hand history provided by Volley Volley. We have aces in the hijack. We RFI 2.1. The fish is on the button and he calls, and the big blind's a reg and he calls. First thing to note is pre-flop. What do we know about pre-flop from fish? In theory, if you raise from the hijack, button is supposed to call around 6.7% of the time. Fish do this much more than theory. Fish are calling pre-flop 23% of the time. That means they're going to be much wider than this range. They're going to have a lot more Jack 9 suited, Jack 8 suited, Ace 2 suited, a lot of like Ace 10 off, Ace Jack off hands, because they under 3-bet pre-flop. Let's take a look. They're 3-betting 7%. What's theory? 9%. So they're under 3-betting and they're over calling. That means they're going to be too wide. So we know this on the flop. On the flop, the flop comes Queen of Clubs, 6 of Hearts, 2 of Spades. Now, should we c-bet flop? Well, it is multi-way, which means c-bet frequencies decrease. Let's take a look at heads up to see if we are incentivized to c-bet. What do we notice from fish? They overfold, and so do regs. So if this was heads up, I would prefer a c-bet, but multi-way, I don't mind a check. So we decide to check. The button, who is a fish, bets around 75%, and the big blind, who's a reg, folds, and it's up to us. Now, I think calling and I think check raising both have merit. I do prefer calling because I know how fish play on the turn. What do I mean? Well, let's go to the turn. We have data for the turn as the field as single raise pot in position pre-flop caller. When a fish bets on the flop around 70%, they are over barreling turn. So we take a turn. It comes a 9 of spades. We check to the fish. Now the fish bets 75% again. Now there's nothing else to do here but call because we know how they play rivers. On the river, a 10 of diamonds comes. Now we have to look at MDA. You cannot look at theory for this because theory pre-flop is too wide. They under 3-bet. Remember, they only 3-bet 7%. And GTO is over 9, and they should be calling less than 7%, and they're calling 23%. So they're too wide pre-flop. So let's take a look at bet MDA for fish. What do we see from the field as a single raise pot in position pre-flop caller, hijack cutoff button, all combined together versus out of position? What we see is that they are over bluffing. We see if they bet 70 on the flop and they bet 70 on the river, they are bluffing with a merged range for 37 week, and GTO is around 30. So in game, you should always be calling this because of how they play pre-flop. It may look scary because there's no natural bluffs, but remember, versus fish, they're going to have too many hands like 5-4 suited, too many hands that are going to be betting if you check to them. Remember, on the flop, they are going to be too wide. So they're going to bet too often with too much of a range, because in GTO, yes, this is low, but GTO is going off of pre-flop GTO. The problem with here is that the fish are not playing pre-flop GTO, which makes them too weak. So what we see from the MDA is that they overbluff here, and we should always be calling down with our pocket aces. All right, guys, this was just a short video, but if you enjoy this type of content, please give me a like, please give me a subscribe. New video every single day, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.